Ontario, speaking with Michael Fraser O'Brien, otherwise known as OB from Kill the Autocrat. We're going to start from the beginning and see what's up with them and how they began and what took us to where we are today. So let's start. OB, what brought you in and how did Kill the Autocrat start?
You know, I grew up in northern Ontario, Coppercliff, which is basically smack dab right in the middle of Sudbury, but for some reason it seems like it's on the outskirts. I wasn't, we really had no access to digital music when I was growing up, so I basically played with my friends that were in punk rock bands and started utilizing all the live musicians I knew to make hip-hop music with, and that brought such a different style to my music as well as my flow and my writing style.
So you were that kid in high school that was always down with rapping out tunes, building out lyrics and showing them to your friends, but not necessarily catching it and blending with the whole crew? Like, was everybody into rap when you were into rap, or were you standing out from the crowd?
You know, we were, everyone was kind of into rap, but I grew up in the skateboarding scene in the early and mid-90s, so we're listening to a lot of Fat Records punk rock, like Propaganda, NoFX, Strung Out, Face to Face, Blink-182, old Blink-182, by the way, Cheshire Cat, pre-Travis Barker. The new stuff's good too, though. Good job. And as for rap music, I could never really get into gangster rap, being where I'm from, because sure we have some gangsters around here. I know a couple as well, but I was just never really into that. So I grew up listening to Tribe Called Quest, The Far Side, Gangstar, anything by Guru, Jazzmatazz. Guru's my favorite MC, rest in peace. And yeah, I just kind of developed my own anything conscious, and developed my own philosophies and flows and ideas from that, and melded it with my activism, and
so
like any MC, try to make it my own style, right?
So let's sidestep a bit and kind of talk about how the activism part of it began. So you have your family, your father started with Ballet Inco and was a born and raised miner, correct?
So my grandfather was a miner at Inco at the time, and he moved here from Cape Breton to work in the mines, and he retired in the 80s. And my father was a millwright for the company, and he worked. He got hired when he was 18 years old. It took me till I was 28 to get on as a miner. But then we were bought out by a multinational corporation known as CVRD at the time, but now are known as Vale. Before we were a Canadian company, but obviously they were a publicly traded company, so they had shareholders all over the world, right? So just dealing with a multinational corporation as opposed to dealing with a Canadian corporation has been a big decline to our collective bargaining as for my local United Steelworkers, Local 6500, and our membership as a whole, as well as the whole community as well, right? Because
so let's jump back and talk about, one of the big songs for Kill the Autocrat was One Day Longer. I think that's really the cusp of where it started with who OB and Kill the Autocrat were during Ballet Inco strike. So let's talk a bit about when did that strike start, how long did it last, and what happened with Kill the Autocrat during that time to start.
The whole concept of Kill the Autocrat came to me during the strike, and I was in a group before that, and we had broke up, and I had kind of gave my music away, and I was still doing stuff, nothing really seriously. But I finally got on at the place where my father and my grandfather were, and once I got involved with the union right away, and I found myself 8 months into my career, ended up on strike for a year, and I had all this free time, but most importantly I had all this new passion. I'm from a mining town, and basically I live in a smelter, which is massive. I got tattooed on my arm. And I've always had a chip on my shoulder because, a lot of people around my area, they grew up around hunting and fishing. I had like an industrial wasteland and tailings ponds around me. And all that inspiration from the strike, I wrote a song about the strike called One Day Longer, which is a big union motto saying that we'll be here one day longer than the company, correct? So doing that, I performed it on the picket line. My hero and mentor and idol, Leo Gerard, who is from Sudbury, you can actually check it on YouTube. The first time I met him, and he caught wind of this, and he was so gracious to lend me the time and opportunity. Actually, he's on the album. He let me sample him, which was amazing. It's a song called "Working Man" on the record. Our first record, New World Disorder, by it. And
now available on iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes. Well, buy it off 682 Records because iTunes takes 33% off the top of every sale. Don't kid yourself. And I've because of that, of my activism and just being myself, I've got to go all across the country and do all these amazing, not just country, but this continent, and do all these amazing things. Like I was in.
So let's kind of cut there and state that Vale Inca was going through a huge strike, and it lasted, I think, almost a year. But the United States started having an impact on their economy at the same time, and more specifically, the U.S. government was targeting their unions as well. And you ended up traveling down there and leading protests or meetings or functions with them and performing some of Kill the Autocrat songs.
Yeah. I was in Madison when they took over the state capitol building, and I got to perform my One Day Longer song there, and it was incredible. I played in front of 80,000 people. Like, how crazy is that, right? And I wasn't nervous. I scared myself because I wasn't nervous. I think it was because I met up with a few of union brothers that were on strike from Metropolis, Illinois, and they were on strike. These guys were on strike for just over a year, like us. And just having the camaraderie and the comfort of being around people that were like-minded like myself, nothing really fazed me, because it's just it's like preaching to the choir, it's rapping to your friends, right? It just happened to be 80,000 of them as opposed to, and it's really amazing the community of people I've gotten to meet, and how I see these. I've gone to all these conferences and stuff, and all these companies, they seem to have the same focus and structures that they want to go after. They want to define benefit pensions. They want, in the States especially, they want to cut healthcare and benefits, and, Canada, we're lucky we have universal healthcare here, right? But make sure you get that in America. And we've been, it's just amazing the similarities that we have, in the injustices in our country of all these corporations. It's like they all go to the same school, trying to fuck us on all the same things, right?
So let's jump back to Canada for a minute, or for the rest of the interview, I guess, and talk more about Jack Layton. Jack Layton, the previous leader of the NDP, going through the last election race, unfortunately passed away before he could see to fruition what he saw as the next Canada. After his passing, yourself and Charlie Angus got together and completed a song, but you were writing that song with Jack Layton at that time, no? He was
So originally, this was during the federal election. I believe Jack knew he was sick. He's really one of the, he always used to say Tommy Douglas was the greatest prime minister never to be a prime minister, but I'd like to say that about Jack. He's such an inspiration to us all. I believe he's sick. He knew he was sick throughout that entire election and ran it anyway. And anybody can tell you that knows Jack he worked tirelessly for the Canadian people. And when he was in a campaign stop in Sudbury, he did a town hall meeting, and I spoke to him about doing an anthem for the NDP. And I actually, with me and Charlie, and he was actually supposed to come to the studio and play harmonica on it. And
because he was a big harmonica enthusiast.
He played
right?
a whole bunch of instruments. What an awesome dude! Really, we had Sudbury Summerfest here every summer, and he rolled into Summerfest and no security ever. And he just walks around and taking pictures with people. And then he hopped on stage and started ripping the harmonica and bye George Bush, hello Obama. He was incredible. If you look it up on YouTube, I'm sure it's there somewhere. I think it's even on my Facebook somewhere. But so when he passed away, Charlie Angus, who's the MP for Timmins James Bay, who was working on the song with me, he called me up and he said, we got to change the song. We got to write it about Jack. And of course, Jack was such a dear friend to us all that, yeah, absolutely, I'd be honored, right? And we ended up getting it together, and it was called Longer Than a Lifetime, which is a quote from Jack. And we performed it live at the NDP National Convention. And fuck you to all the mainstream media that got my name wrong. Maybe they were afraid to say kill the Autocrat on air, I don't know. What an honor. I played it for Olivia Chow, which is his wife, and his son Michael, and Michael was in tears. He came up to me and gave me a big hug, and also
there was a lot of hype at that NDP convention, and there was a lot of cheers and tears, and
people did not see what we were doing coming. And we had set out massive press releases saying that we were doing it. But then I watched a news clip of this reporter from I forget what news station. He was like, "Yeah, we're here at the NDP convention and blah 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 blah," and then his face just kind of went like, and then boom, the camera flashed to me rapping on stage, right? So and they were all scrambling after, like, who the fuck is this guy? And then the Conservatives even tried to diss Charlie in Parliament about it, which was pretty awesome.
I was going to bring that up because the only negative press they could give that was, oh, what are they trying to do? Yeah, making friends with the young crew and the hip hop crew. What are they doing, bringing this guy in?
I think he said something about 8 Mile, and then Charlie said, well, it's just like a conservative to hip hop over the question like that. And Charlie is what a great guy. I got to hang out with him for a day, and he is a warrior for the Canadian people. I know they're talking about cutting some ridings out of Northern Ontario, and
yes, big time.
Charlie's riding is bigger than Great Britain. He's Timmins James Bay, so he represents all. He
represents a lot of one of the biggest things going on with the Conservatives right now, as far as Timmins James Bay and the Anishinaabe Nation with Saskatchewan Nation specifically. And every year they have flooding, they have substandard housing, they have no medical care, and so on and so forth. And he fights really hard from way up in the north, and he's threatened by the Conservatives currently just cutting off his areas and almost giving him no say in what's going to happen to those people. And
I can relate to this specifically, okay, because I grew up beside it. There's a motherfucking diamond mine right beside that community.
Yep.
There's a motherfucking diamond mine. I live beside a nickel mine, okay? Not a fucking diamond mine.
The diamond mine, De Beers went in and did make contracts with.
Oh, they gave them some trailers.
They gave them some trailers, and they gave them a promise of some money 10 years down the road. Yeah,
well, it's a fucking diamond mine. Can that be stressed enough? It's a fucking diamond mine. The bottom line with people I think the media smears all this stuff towards people like, oh, look at them, they're asking for this, they're asking for that, you know what I mean? Well, all these other people have so much. Fucking help people out, man. It's ridiculous, the negativity that, and that mass media brings towards, or controlled media, sorry, not mass media, brings towards, poor people, we need to help these people out, help them out of their route, regardless of where they're from or what they do. We live in Canada here. We're not in a third world country. People need to eat. They deserve the right to adequate housing and food and water. This is no fucking brainer, right?
So I think that is a good tie-in with a lot of the songs that came out on Kill the Autocrat's first album, most notably Constant Movement. A lot of the lyrics in that song are talking about class war, and that, in most Canadians' eyes right now, is exactly what is happening. The poor are becoming poorer, the rich are becoming richer, and the middle class is becoming non-existent. And I think that's one of the main focuses from what I hear from the music of Kill the Autocrat, is talking about the class wars that are happening and how we are, with the NDP not winning this term, and the Conservatives winning, is we're pushing the poor down to poorer, and the middle class are getting pushed down to poorer, and we're really going to end up with poor and rich and nothing more. And I think that's what a lot of the lyrics, if I'm not mistaken or misunderstanding it,
The whole
was a lot
concept,
of what you're sending out, right?
the whole concept of Kill the Autocrat is about killing the tyranny in your everyday life, and whether that be what you eat, where you buy it from, you know, where you, everything, right? There's so much injustice on the planet, right? And you know, I'm not going to pretend that I have the answer to all these questions, right? You know, I just spit my views and my thoughts and my philosophies, and you know, hopefully someone listening to my things, maybe that'll trigger something in their brain to come up with this great answer that can save humanity. I'm not pretending to be a savior of anything, right? I just wanna make music and inform people, right? The song "Constant Movement" was inspired by the G20 in Toronto, where the cops let the black bloc run a fucking muck, destroy all of downtown Toronto. Although I like the targets they hit, and basically then beat the shit out of innocent fucking people. You know, and how anybody can sit there, even if they get paid to do it, and like, you know, hurt people like that in our country, in our civilization, with the frame of mind I hope most of the citizens in our country have, is like fucking beyond me.
So let's talk more about everything we've discussed is leading up to Kill the Autocrat's first album. You guys released on 682 Records, which is locally out of Sudbury.
Yeah.
They have a lot of, I mean, if anybody knows rap and anybody knows hip hop, they know Boogie Down Productions, they know KRS-One, and you're repping the same label as those guys, and released your record on that same label. How is the release going? Where is it available? And what's next?
You know, look for us near you. Call us to book shows. It's humbling. We got Kenny Parker from Boogie Down Productions spitting on the album, which is a great honor to me. I actually had a conference call with him for the record, and he's like, well, you know, what do you think of the record? He's like, it's revolutionary, I love it. And I'm like, well, he's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, well, I have a basic guideline, but, you know, at the end of the day, you're fucking Kenny Parker, and
I'm gonna do what you say.
Just do what you do, and then, you know, I'm gonna take the best of everything. But you know, KRS-One, the fucking god. I guess I got the nod from the hip hop gods, right? These are the inventors of rap music. And get ready. What else do we got coming on 682 Records? We got new Dead Celebrity Status album coming on 682 Records. We got oh my fucking god, we got a brand new Grand Poobah record coming on featuring Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Q-Tip.
It's badass. You guys are associated with a lot of badass people on the same label.
Well, it's real rap music, right? It comes from the streets. It comes from the real, man. These are the, you know, where the rap has been so shitty for so long, you know, a bubbly life, fuck. And the rap's not about living a fucking bubbly life, man. It's about what's really going on in the people's lives, you know. And we lost the activism in rap music, you know. And then Kill the Autocrat's going to try to bring that back.
So what's next?
What's next,
What's
man?
on the slate in the next, I don't know, 6 months to a year?
Oh, just play shows, get inspired by all you beautiful people out there, fight the fight every day, get ready. We got a webisode coming out called What the Fuck Is Going On.
Featured on 705?
Featuring 705 Video Magazine, my man Fred right here. And yeah, we're coming at you live, man. Yo, you having any injustices going on? You're getting fucked over at your job, you're getting anything that you can raise back, hit up Kill the Autocrat. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and I love you guys. Stay strong.
And scene.
Sweet.